Welcome to the Teacher's Pep Rally. If you missed our last episode with education coach and school leader Latarsha Jones, please go back and check it out. Well, Fred has put up some lights for us around the gym floor, and Letitia helped. I got to give her credit. We're getting into the holiday or a festive spirit. As many of you can relate, it is a crazy time of year, so we are coming in hot, and this has been an interesting semester, but we are almost at winter break. So let's talk about life and learning on the Teacher's Pep Rally.
Woo! Yes!
Ho, ho, ho. Oh, good one.
That was awesome.
That was really good. Okay, and show.
That's it.
I'm looking forward to this. We love our guests, but it's been a while since the four of us again have just kind of been able to visit and talk and hang out. For sure, check us out on YouTube and listen to the show because you can seriously see the lights that we have hung up here at the Teacher's Pep Rally. Before we get started, how are you, my friends?
Counting down.
Sounds about right.
Tomorrow's my Friday.
We are almost there, folks. We can do it.
Can you feel it?
We can do it. So with that being said, I'm going to start because I always think having a contrast of things is important. So that when you look at the good, and Crystal's happy I'm mentioning that, right? Really, you really can appreciate it. So here's the first question I have for you, and I'll answer too. What has been your biggest challenge so far this year? Biggest challenge.
Just one? No.
I know, right? I was like, I think one.
Okay. You guys want me to go?
Yeah, you got one?
Okay. So maybe our listeners know this, that we're all entrepreneurs. And so for me, the biggest challenge this year has been transitioning from being an employee to being really a contractor, and just having to make that transition and then not having, wondering, okay, do we want that check to be in there every 2 weeks? There's a sense of stability when a school district is cutting the check for you for 20 plus years. And then it's, okay, so I have to keep hustling all year because when this contract is up, I have to make sure I have things lined up. So that, although I love the autonomy, I think for me, that's been the biggest challenge this year, is just that transition.
Yeah. And I got to say, watching you from the sidelines, you are doing good work and you are giving really good support that is needed, not just to entire schools, but to individuals. So keep it up. You're doing it.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
And that is real, though. There is no doubt about that, Letitia. I mean, my hat's off to you. I respect you so much already prior to all that, but that transition. But to make that move is not a small thing. I think it's viewed differently, right? When we look at that person who's made that so-called quote unquote leap of faith. Now yours was a retirement move, but it doesn't matter, right? I mean, you're still committing yourself to something where there's a great unknown. And that's that, and that's where I think all of us are seeing ourselves at some point someday. But seeing you do it and knowing some of the machinations, it is not easy. But I'm hoping. Well, I already know. I don't have to hope. You're enjoying it, and you could see that you're finding a new purpose in the sense, or you're branching.
A new life. It really feels like new life and a fresh breath of fresh air, right? And what better time to do it than a pandemic, where it's all up in the air. Who the heck knows?
Right there.
Right. Up in the air. Who knows? Right. But, the other beauty about being a lifelong educator is, I said to my husband, being a teacher is not a demotion. And so if the rubber meets the road and I have to go back into a classroom, I will do it. I will do it because it's not a demotion. And so we have options.
That's right. How about Pete and Fred? Biggest challenge so far this year? Pick one.
Go ahead, Pete. You go ahead.
Energy. I just finished, as you guys know, an insane period of time. And I haven't had that intense schedule in 2 years. And I've aged in those 2 years. And I've also forgotten where was that form? What is that? What did I used to do with that cord? How did I hook this up? When would I send what to what parents? It was a lot of the logistics that kind of went out. So that took a little while to get back into it. Bring it back, but it's still not the same, right? We're still we're not in the clear on anything yet. So it's bringing back, but there's still a lot of hoops to jump through to bring it back. So I've taken a major hit this week, and the knees, the butt, the back, just everything ringing in my ear. I feel like my father, for crying out loud. Taking the hit, the energy, remembering what I was doing before the shutdown and bringing it back, the mechanics while you're 2 years older, that's been the biggest thing for me the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So real. Yeah.
So the ringing in the ears. Can you
we'll talk. I'm going to, it's another thing, Fred. Add it to my list. I'm going to.
You're serious? You're talking about
ringing? I think it's because of that stuff. I've been teaching that modern banding class, and I think, we'll talk.
Like a tinnitus type thing, right?
Yeah. It's good.
Well, I know you're getting real close to break, and I hope that you take some time to refill your tank, because you've been going and giving. So now it's peak time.
Yep. Christmas Eve, I'll be in New York City.
Woohoo!
Oh my God.
What they said for a second, I thought my hearing's going. I thought you said New Year's Eve. I'm like,
smart human beings don't think of that as recharging, but me, I look at that as recharging. So
I could see that recharging you easily, going down, Broadway and seeing the lights and seeing the shows and
just
seeing the
family. Got to get
the
back
trees.
home.
Yeah.
You go on the beach?
Well, yeah, we'll be in Jersey, but we'll be flying in and getting it all around, covering the area, seeing everybody.
Cool. We need to talk, because maybe there's a way we can connect.
Maybe
if you're up here this long enough. We're gonna get snow,
Awesome.
Yes.
How about you, Fred? Biggest challenge this year?
So I yes, this is the one I did do my homework on.
Good boy.
Thank you very much. You know what? This has been weird. It's been very Twilight Zone-ish for me, because I think we all knew that we were going into this with an expectation of it being different. But I don't think I think I underestimated what the balance of that difference would be. Because I think I'm not going to just sit here and say, and everything was magical and we knew that we had masks on, we're going to still make it happen. Yeah, let's go for it. And the reality is it didn't work out that way. It was more of a balance. Balance was tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I say balance, I mean balancing my authentic self, which is going to come up again a little bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
And my desire to deliver the material, because I didn't get to do it the way I wanted to do it in that virtual world that we came out of. And that balance was frustrating. I wanted to shed that, but it moved forward. But I found that it was this weird tug of war between my two teaching halves, I guess. And I think balance was just frustrating. I think it was not frustrating from a real bad way, but walking into a class, seeing everyone, I've said this before, walking into the class, seeing students all masked up, especially now my students are older, but I don't think the situation has changed much, but feeling like I'm at gunpoint, they look at you like they're challenging you every moment of this, every step of the way, right? Masked up, furrowed eyebrows, arms crossed,
right?
What are you going to do? And that kind of sucks the energy out of you, and you're trying to be into it. So where do you try to balance that? But that balance was my biggest challenge. I think that was, and there's a couple other things too that come with that, but balance.
Yeah. I think everything that you all are saying is things that other people can definitely relate to. Mine's time. I wrote down time. My biggest challenge, just not enough time. I had the great idea to go back to school while working full time and handling this crazy year. So I've had to try to figure out sometimes, things that I think are all important, but I have to let one thing go, or all the other stuff isn't going to happen, or grad school, especially. I'm not going to get this large paper done or this project. And so that's been a challenge, but I just finished the semester, my second semester, and I'm like, okay, I did it. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. So, but time.
And we got to throw some compliments your way, because
Yes.
you are juggling a lot, and some people pull back. You went head first into these huge changes and challenges. So,
Thanks,
much respect.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the contrast. Something you are proud of that happened this semester. Something you're proud of.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes. And you know what? One of us can throw out for someone else too. If there's something you can think of and you're like, you know what, I'm really proud of you, or you should be proud of XYZ. Because sometimes the four of us aren't the best at like tooting our own horns, but like Letitia says, we need to toot.
I'll jump. It was last night. It was the caroling we did. We had a 40-foot bus. We did 28.7 miles through Marietta neighborhoods, blasting music, windows down. We decorated the bus on the outside and the inside, and it was wild. It was a 2-hour roller coaster ride. It was really, really cool to see the neighborhoods come out, and we didn't even touch all of our school neighborhoods, but it was the best we could do in that amount of time. Sometimes I get these ideas and like, I don't know how this is going to work out, but it does. And it was really cool. So heard from the transportation department saying they love the idea. They want other schools to pick it up. I heard that from a bus driver today. It's a really cool activity for community groups, relatively safe. I mean, the wind is blowing through there. It was cold. And what a great community builder. So there were a couple of times as I'm holding the speaker and holding my clipboard with the directions and talking to the bus driver, trying not to go through the front windshield. There's a couple times I turned around and I looked at my kid with his friends, and these kids, they're the kids I'm doing this for. I just said, wow, this was really, really cool. There were a couple times and I got a little choked up, said, good job, Pete. So I am proud of that. And that's awesome. So that's mine.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
How about you, Letitia?
So I partnered with Emory University. They're doing this huge kind of pilot.
It's a small school here in Atlanta. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's the program is called Sparks in Community. And basically what it does is it is doing a huge study, a longitudinal study on the impact of violence on African-American children, and how does violence impact them, and how does the trauma show up, and all of that. So, just so proud that, first of all, of that partnership, because Emory is a pretty big deal, that partnership, and then just to make mental health services and things accessible to this group of students has been really amazing. And, I'm back in a building, which I really have come to the conclusion that I missed it so bad. Like, you can have central office, being around children has there's just something magical about it. But anyway, so to have, those kiddos participating in that study, and then having high schoolers do mindfulness and, brush it off like, what are we doing? And now to say, hey, doc, for some reason they call me doc. Hey, doc, when we're going to do that, that mindfulness or that meditation was pretty cool, or that guy was boring. Can we find another person? It's just, I'm just so proud to be able to bring some relief to our kids who are suffering tremendously, emotionally, mentally, physically. And so I'm super proud of that.
That's a good one.
That little piece there.
Nice.
Bravo.
How about you, Fred?
When I first was thinking about this, my gut reaction, I'll be honest with you, was we made it. So right. That was my win. My win was we made it. So this fall term we are currently, for those of you listening right now, we're currently in finals week, and then the semester is over technically on Friday. So classes ended last Friday, but they're over this Friday officially. And I thought, well, we made it. And that was a big thing, right? Because we transitioned from this totally online world back into the physical space. But that was my gut reaction. But I think my real win was really being able to kind of innovate in my classroom in a way that I didn't think I could. And that was introducing a full stack set of projects. So ultimately they were preps on the fly. And I haven't done that. Going back to Pete's point, I haven't done that since we started this degree program. It was 22 years ago. And I mean, that sounds kind of archaic that I am reinventing my curriculum a lot, but this was a full court press, and I haven't done that in a while. And that was a win. Kind of felt good in a way, but it was, but ultimately we made it.
Right.
Yay.
Right.
That's a good one.
Hopefully making it. Yeah.
I think we will.
Yeah.
Well, I will always say, Teachers Pep Rally is something I'm really proud of. I'm proud of the work we're all doing and the conversations we're having and the ones to come, which we'll talk about to get everyone excited after we come back from winter break. And then my professional thing, if you bear with me for a minute, because I wrote it out. So I developed a platform for stakeholders in a school district of 108 schools and nearly 11,000 employees to provide feedback on a grading policy draft. And so I was really proud of that because, sometimes communication isn't the best in a school district, especially when it comes to something as big as a grading policy. And to be able to say I got students and parents and community members and teachers and school leaders and district leaders to share their thoughts and develop a draft that I think is going to pass next semester is kind of exciting.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Okay, speaking
of how we.
What?
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I just love how we drop these little big things.
Yeah, and I think that hopefully we're modeling things that other people can do, right?
Absolutely.
Especially teachers, we don't share like a lot of the things that we do, and maybe in passing you might mention something to a family member, and they're like, "Wait, what? You did what?" "Oh yeah, I drove a school bus full of kids one night just to sing Christmas carols and bring a little cheer to people." "Oh, okay, no big deal."
No big deal.
Speaking of Teachers Pep Rally and the pride of it, so how about an episode so far this season, so starting from August, that left you thinking or applying an idea or concept? So like our guest said something and it just sparked an interest in you. Anyone want to go first?
Yeah, I'll jump on that one. So I went back to Jean Janot and with the disintegrating student.
So did I.
And that really touched on a lot of things that I see firsthand because I'm at the other end of the spectrum once again. But my one was the authentic self. We talked a lot about that. That was one of the takeaways I had in that particular episode too. And I wanted to take that into this classroom. So I had said that last spring, because we had a conference that I was a panelist for, and they were talking about what are we going to be having, what are some of our takeaways from this COVID era that we're going to keep in place as we go forward into the next year. And that was one of the key things I said then. And then when we had that talk, that was beginning of season 3, episode 1. And I brought that in, and that was where she kind of, I don't know, wove that into our talk. So the authentic self, and that was to lower the barrier because we weren't sure what the student was going to be like in the classroom. And sure enough, I think we knew, and we were kind of correct, that we had to create a new way to open up that communication. So in that particular episode, we talked about lowering the barrier, which would help assist that two-way communication. And I found myself able to do that over time because, I don't think I fully shared this with our listeners is, I had COVID. I'm a long hauler and I still continue to long haul, although it's getting better. But that first couple of weeks in the classroom was incredibly stressful for me because I felt like I was immersed in a lab and not getting into politics and vaccinations and all the mask wearing stuff. But the reality is there was some fear going on in my head. And for me to be my authentic self while being somewhat afraid of getting COVID again as a long hauler, not knowing how it could hit me this time, it was a little daunting to be authentic because it's draining because however, over time you kind of get comfortable and the authentic self started to show all the way up until the last week where it was, honest to goodness, the last week of my classes, at least I thought, and hearing back from some of my students, they were my freshmen, at least. They were telling me that they didn't think college professors were like me. So I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And they said they appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, then I didn't say it to them, but I said to myself, I go, like, I hope I think we accomplished what we set out to do.
Yep.
And that was to be out there.
Yes.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
awesome.
real quickly say that's the one I picked too. Interestingly enough, it is the first episode we did for this season 3, but we list the numbers starting all the way from the very first one we did, season 1. So it's episode 39.
Yes.
Season 3. And I'll just real quickly said, I made the note that the thing that I took from that is something we all keep saying, and our guests keep saying, we need to prioritize relationships and listen more. I think that's with kids, with young adults, with adults, colleagues. I think that just goes with everyone, not just with students. So good one, Fred.
Thank you.
How about you?
Well, how funny that I picked the same episode.
What?
Folks, we did not plan this. This is
we did.
Yes, this is totally, and you know, I her statement, and I wrote her quote down. You can't learn if you're in stress response. And that stuck out because I knew I was going back into a building. I've never been in a building as an educator in the midst of a pandemic, right? So I've dealt with kids that are stressed out or whatever, but not to this extent. Not when you have 90% or 95% of your student body is in stress response. And so her statement not only resonated the day that she said it, you know, when we had her on, but it's kind of been the lens from which I do my work, you know, like they're not, which is why I'm bringing in the meditation, or when I'm advocating for them with students, they cannot learn if we're activating their stress response. So yelling, slamming, banging, you know, all of these behaviors that I see is not helpful for students. So I was able to weave it into training for teachers. You know, what part of the brain you're activating in them when we do certain behaviors and certain things. And so that really has helped me to guide my work, to advocate for kids, and even remind me that nothing is getting through to them because they're in stress response. And then she mentioned the book. I know I'm getting long-winded. I feel so prepared tonight. Long-winded because she mentioned the book, which I will show. The Body Keeps the Score, which is he's one of the leading trauma people. Well, I spent 2 days with him this week, and it was like a treat. I was on my screen, you know, like this the whole time, because it's part of what she said is exactly what Dr. Bezel says, is that trauma is in the body. And so if the body's not right, the brain is not right. So that was very impactful. That was a great guess. Thanks, Erin, for the hookup.
Absolutely. You know, awesome. I kind of unfortunately had a prediction of this year. And so it was important to get her on right away. And I'm glad we did. So check that out, episode 39. How about you, Pete?
Good call.
Yep. I'm going to the other end of this season. I'm going to do the last one, 49, LaTarsha Jones.
Yes.
Blew me away. And for me, it's a tie with that, her and Mr. Whitman from episode 41. If you are in any kind of leadership position of any kind in the next couple weeks, do yourself a favor and everybody you work with and listen to each of those episodes. They're about an hour each. And there is so much wisdom and beneficial information in there. So healthy. Give it a listen.
Yes.
Really.
It's funny. That was my backup one, Pete, because of her comment in response to something that I said and about students are resilient, parents are fragile. And that actually has become a talking point amongst us teachers these past 2 or 3 weeks or 2 weeks. We're all nodding our heads going, I don't think we made a mistake, but I think that we have a different viewpoint going into the spring semester now. Students want to thrive, and we need to help them do that. That's good pick. Good pick. And you had to be different. So.
Yeah.
That was good. And it was interesting that it was exactly 10 episodes apart, right?
Which means this is our 50th.
I was just going to say
I'm sending everybody gold tonight.
Bling, bling.
There
Thank
you go.
Thank you, Santa Pete. Okay, so now I'm kind of excited about these. This is like a little bit of like maybe pull your heartstrings sweet, and then I know it's going to get really goofy and funny. So real quick, favorite gift you got from a student, past or present?
Can I be the cheese ball?
Please.
I actually took it off of my tree, so when our audience
Beautiful.
sees it on YouTube. But as you know, my classroom was Starbucks,
That's
and so one year my student gave me a little tumbler.
I
a little
love
mug.
it.
And so every year I put it on my tree, and I was so happy you asked that question because I took it off my tree. My Charlie Brown tree, by the way. This is a sidebar. Trees are bad this year. I mean, finding a real tree was not easy. They were expensive and like Charlie Brown trees. But anyway, this is one of my faves, my little mug.
I love that. And real quick, because we just talked about past episodes, this wasn't this season, and spoiler alert, he's coming back. But Dan Z, do you remember the story of what he does this time of year with his kids? And I'm wondering how that's going. He puts a tree up in his room, and kids can make whatever kind of ornament, whatever they want to hang on it.
Yes.
So I woke up the other morning thinking about that. I'd love to see what his tree looks like.
That's cool.
That was a good one, Letitia. Pete and Fred?
Go ahead, Pete.
Serious. I love the cards. And I keep every one. I have a box. It's huge. It's in that door right there. It's my what did I do with my life box? And whenever I'm questioning, which is quite often, later on, I get out that box. Oh, and I love it. I mean, I've been given wonderful things, and I love but what hits home is the written word from the students, what they think about everything, what they want to say.
Right.
Love the cards.
Especially when it comes from a kid that never said, you just had no idea. And then you get this note and they kind of tell you, and you're like, what? I had no idea. Yep. That's a good one. I always wonder what was behind that door.
There's a lot.
Door number one.
For those on YouTube.
Land shark. How about you, Fred?
Right. So the cards are awesome. I get them as emails. Most of the time they are coming in, from students. So I have every graduating senior group that I have as my seniors, they get an email from me because the last week is interesting in college. There's a lot of stuff happening, interviews, and some people are already left because they started their job. And so it's interesting, but I always send an email out, just letting them know that I'm always available to them and I would look forward to hearing from them. And it always ends up yielding, sometimes even before that email, it yields those hearts, the heartfelt. And they always bring up things that you don't remember. Right. It's like, do you remember? I remember when you said this, or when you did not remember, but they'll say things that, wow, they heard me when I said that. That's cool. They said it. But my favorite gift is when it was actually the first year I was teaching in college. And, the gift thing is not expected ever. Right. And one of my students was a woman who was reinventing herself. And she was trying to really figure out. So you got to understand, when I started teaching, this was the beginning of the internet. The internet was becoming an opportunity for people. So stay-at-home parents now wanted to have a career again. We're coming back to school to learn about new skills on how to make these things called websites. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they were these things that would hang up on the internet, right? And I would teach the early stage technology classes in the 2-year degree program. So when we started off our degree, it started off as a 2-year program, and then it went to 4-year. And these were these adult learners. And these were people that were really committed. I mean, well, you all know, well, Aaron, you're in the middle of a degree program right now. Adult learners are different because they're focused. And all I knew is I'm trying to give them a lot of information. Well, the semester went along, and one of the women she was a little bit more seasoned. And she just, and I only share that because she was nervous. Like so nervous to touch anything, to code anything, to do anything. And I always found myself just talking her off the ledge, actually. It was one of those things. Anyway, at the end of the semester, it was like right at the end of finals week. So everything had been done. I was in my office. I was just cleaning up some things, and there was a knock on my door. And sure enough, there she was with a gift in her hand. I'm holding my hands up here, and it was a matted Dilbert cartoon. And I just pulled it up here, and I can't really share because it's not easily shared, but it's a Dilbert sequence. So if anybody don't know who Dilbert is a technology cartoon. And it says the website needs to be more webbish. The one person is saying to the other person. And in the middle phrase, it says, but not too webbish. And then there's the last phrase, and the one person says, how long will that take? It's one of those things. But the term webbish was something I found myself saying a lot of during the semester. And I didn't realize that. And sure enough, there's a Dilbert cartoon about it. So that still sits. That was 22 years ago. Wow. That still sits up on my mantle in my office as my main sign. And I always look up at it, and it just reminds me of really what our real purpose is, like to facilitate change and to give people options and to become a better version of themselves. That's what she did. Yeah. So she's off. I don't know where she is these days. I know I hear from her. I see her from time to time, but I don't know where she is.
Hey, call our hotline if you're out there. 678-439-TPR1, right?
Yeah. There it is.
Call.
All right, so I'll do mine real fast. I used to teach a play in one of my lesson plans. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Spoiler alert. So when I used to teach that, one year I had a kid, Trader Joe's, the grocery store, was selling popcorn, and the popcorn tin. So she gave me the whole thing, but on the tin, that was the coolest part, and I've kept it. It was Rosencrantz and Gilden Pop. And so she gave me that tin, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And I'd always pull it out whenever I did that play, and the kids would go nuts. They couldn't believe that I had that. Cool. So that was really cool because not just because she thought of me and gave me that, but then I could use it as a prop. All right. You don't have to go into too much explanation. It might make it more funny that way. Most awkward gift that you have ever received as an educator.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
I'll go first. So mine's real quick. It wasn't necessarily a gift. If you want to call creating a gift. One of my students was pretty savvy with graphical tools. And I don't know if anybody remember. I'm sure you remember. Do you remember the Chia Pets? Well, yes. The Chia Pets, the student grabbed the snapshot of my head. And then because I'm very thin up on the top, they replaced my head with the chia growing effect. So it's an animated GIF, and it keeps on going like this.
That's awesome.
The hair keeps on growing out of my head over and over again. That was probably the most embarrassing because I showed it up in front of the class. I didn't know what it was, and I double clicked it. All of a sudden, they were able on the projector screen. My big head growing hair over and over and over again. That was awesome. That was a surprise.
I got a strand of pearls, which was awkward just because we do have a limit, people, of truly at a certain cap at what people, how much a gift can cost, and so that was an awkward conversation.
I think I have to pass on this one. I can't remember an awkward gift.
It's all right. You can pass. Pete, do you have one?
Sure.
That's what I figured. I was like, oh boy, get ready.
He has enough on the boat.
Give us a good one, Pete.
Food with bite marks. Food with that I've already had bites taken out of them. I've had, some teachers will get a pair of socks. I've gotten one sock that had curse words on it.
Well, you're a music teacher. Do you think that was like was it Red Hot Chili Peppers? Was it him?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. And then marbles with the Beatles on it. And he said, "Here, Mr. Bush, I have the Beatles balls."
Oh, man. Thank you for bringing it home. Oh, we lost Fred. Fred, you okay?
Oh, my gosh. I love Pete Bush.
I originally went to the rose. Remember the rose I told you?
I thought of the rose story.
That was not a gift.
It was not a gift. Prop. No.
Oh gosh.
But it is a gift that keeps on giving when you tell that story.
It sure does. So anyway.
Beatles balls. Did that make it in the new documentary, I wonder, on Disney?
I sure hope so.
Did they contact you?
Put it in.
It's episode 5.
Come on.
They need to add it.
Okay. Any gifts? And I made a little list, and it sounds like some of you did too. Like any gifts, since now we have a good contrast of what make great gifts and what maybe not so great. I had a colleague recently tell me who was a teacher. Hope she doesn't mind me sharing this. Someone gave her a tube top.
Nice.
Tube top. Thought she would look good in it. Okay. Any gifts you recommend for last minute shoppers for either educators or for their kids, like parents for their kids?
Come on, Fred.
What you got?
Yeah, this has been an ongoing conversation. So I know that we're only 10 days away from the Christmas holiday, but then we also have some other holidays during this time of the year for gift giving. If you go out to getmecoding.com, you could download the toy idea or the coding toy idea book. I have a bunch of recommendations out there, but the one that caught my attention this year, and I think it's a great one if you can't get it for the Christmas season or the Hanukkah season or the holiday season, you can get it for a birthday, Easter gifts. Why not? It's the Code Lab all-inclusive coding kit. And the reason why I really got attracted to that one was because it was recommended by Family Choice. So Family Choice designates a toy every year in different categories. And this one, what I really, really like about it is how hands-on it is. It touches on electronics. It touches on coding. It's very, very, it's very accessible. It could be for a younger person and even to an older person. So that's the Code Lab all-inclusive coding kits. And it's also there. So it's over 25,000 kids and teachers recommend that one. So
that's awesome.
It's a big crowd. Yeah. So that came out. That wasn't on my list last year. So this was kind of a new surprise to me. And if you are also into like the light up effects, that has all that. That's probably my number one recommendation. And I think the other one too that's still easy to get is anything Sphero. So Sphero still is probably reigns supreme. I'm holding it up on the video here. This is the Spark. I'm going to be pulling this one apart again, but I like Sphero. Big company, great reputation in the classroom, a lot of fun. They light up, they do all kinds of things and so on. So yeah, that's my big recommendations.
Cool. Thanks, Fred. That was
like awesome.
Gold. How about you, Letitia? Did you come up with a
well thought out? Well, I'm all about experiences. So and these might seem kind of corny, but I love my Audible membership because I love to read, but you can't read everything. So and if you're in Atlanta traffic, like I am now, so Audible is top of my list. And then the other gift that I loved getting is Ancestry.
Oh.
That was such a great experience to kind of learn like where, my folks came from, and just we revealed it with the family. It was just a really fun experience. So those are two, and you don't have to go shopping. You can just
I love it. Yeah. Those are good.
Ancestry. And that's kind of fun. So those are my two recommendations.
I like those. How about you, Pete?
Don't have any.
Oh.
You don't have to, because you have the Beatles balls.
That's right.
Boy, I've got Beatles balls.
Wow. What about you, Erin?
Yeah. So I was thinking of a couple, if your kids or you happen to know something, several of us are really into Disney. So if someone gave me anything with Disney stuff on it, I was happy as could be. Coffee mug, poster, whatever. It made me very happy. So if you know something that they're really into, that's kind of cool. Because what it is a little extra touch of saying, hey, I've gotten to know you a little bit. I know I can tell you about this. I've really gotten into mindset cards lately. And I think teachers could really use that right now. It's just something you can kind of pull out whenever you want. There are a lot of times themed or topics. So if there's certain things that you really need to kind of try to work on, but a lot of them are great. You just read it and it helps you to kind of reset your mind about certain things. So I think that's great for teachers right now. Yes. And then just to balance out the mindset, educators love their caffeine. So whether that's the coffee gift card or a case of their favorite soda, never can go wrong.
The whole case.
Yeah.
Don't open any.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The other thing is a personalized stamp, like with their name on it. That they can use for letters and things. I just think that's really kind of a cool thing and something usually someone doesn't do for themselves. And then lastly, only if you know that they like these types of things, because some people aren't good with plants, but just having like a nice plant, something live in their classroom to kind of, bring a little nature in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great, so I use the Headspace app, and if any of you are using it, they have the morning wake up video, and they've had a young woman on there who has been phenomenal with plant care. And I've really enjoyed her talks. They're real short. They're about 3 minutes. And I like Aaron, we talked about this. I'm an outdoor guy. I like yard landscaping, getting away from the keyboard, getting my hands dirty again. Kind of harkens to my Marine Corps days a little bit, but I dress in camouflage and hide in my yard. But the thing is, the gift of a plant was such a cool idea. And she talked through how to do that. And it was really something like, it sounds simple enough. But there's a couple of things you could do that really make it, tie a little ribbon around the planter and then fold the paper up around it. And then she talked about also giving a piece of a plant that you have that you love to somebody, because it also expresses you giving part of yourself. Yeah. I thought it was a really neat morning wake up video on the Headspace app. It was pretty cool.
I love that.
Like it a lot.
Awesome.
All right. So we're also getting to the new year. And so we've done this before, but I thought I'd ask everyone if you had a word or a phrase that kind of comes to your mind that you're going to just kind of try to live by next year. Getting back to that mindset.
Getting back to the mindset.
Yeah.
2022. Wow. Who would have thunk it?
Can't believe it.
Yep. I'll tell you what, mine's been joy, and I haven't quite figured out. No way. Fred?
Yes, that's mine.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't know why it keeps coming to my mind. I haven't thought about it too much, other than I think I just want to try to just, live in the moment. And that means joy to me. It's just finding joy.
That was my, so awesome. These past few days, some readings and some reflections and stuff like that. So joy really isn't a feeling. Happy is the feeling. Joy is a state of mind, really. Right.
Yeah.
And you have to cultivate it. Yeah. And I hadn't looked at it that way in quite a long time. And I think what brought it about was this is the holiday season. And I could remember as a kid being super excited, and looking forward to, and I was equating that actually with joy. And as I got older, I started to understand the season differently and better and so on. And I was saying that just this past week, I want to energize, or I want to restart that joyous feeling again. So I've been looking into what that means and what that takes. So it's a great one, Aaron. Great
nice,
minds.
Fred.
Great minds.
Great minds think alike.
I love it.
How about you, Letitia?
So I have to be extra. Just a little bit.
Plus it up, girl.
Plus it up. Everything's plus size. So I have 3 words for 2022: movement, exploration, and wisdom.
Ooh.
Movement, exploration, and wisdom. I want to move more, and it doesn't have to be, but just moving the body, exploring more, trying new things. I'm really thinking about swimming with the dolphins. So if any of y'all want to come with me to the aquarium,
the
Georgia Aquarium has where you can actually swim with dolphins.
I've always wanted to do that.
Do we have to be certified or anything, or can
I don't
we
think
jump
so.
in there?
Well, I think there's going to be some teaching. And as soon as I find out if they have a plus size little rubber thingy,
wetsuit. We got to get our wetsuits.
Wetsuits. I said
we'll get some thingy. TPR ones.
TPR wetsuits.
I cannot. But yes, movement, exploration, and just more wisdom. I just really want to.
I like those.
Cultivate
those good ones.
The acronym is MEW.
Yes.
Saying.
MEW.
I love it. That exploration one, that's a zinger. I love that one.
Yeah, I like that term. Good.
So that's me. MEW for 22.
MEW for 22.
Yep. I have
no MEW, not yep. MEW.
Anyway.
Come on, Pete. You got it, man.
All right. I have 2. I have one for inside the teacher and one for outside the teacher. Inside the teacher. So my wife does these beautiful journals that are just, each page is a work of art. She just does calligraphy and all different handwriting and stickers and drawings, and it's amazing. They're like craft journals. She buys them this thin, and then when she's done making them, they're this thick. I mean, each page is a work of art. That's just her thing. She loves it. So she was flipping through it, showing me what she made last couple of days, and I caught a sticker that was on there, and it was, "You got to nourish to flourish." So I love that one. And I said, okay, that's Teachers on the Inside. Teachers on the Outside, I'm going to the passing of Mr. Stephen Sondheim last week, which hit me really hard. And the lyrics to Children Will Listen. Check out that song from Into the Woods. It's important right now. Really important. Look at those beautiful lyrics and think of how you can apply that to when you're communicating to your students.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
That was good. I like that.
That's an excellent song.
Yeah.
All right. So I like all those. I approve. Stamp of approval. Okay. So upcoming topics. So I wanted to share. So we're going to take break because we listen to our own advice and our guest advice. We're going to take winter break. Upcoming topics when we come back. We have a STEAM school out west that's coming to talk about some stuff. Their main focus is agriculture.
Yeah, cool.
Now that's awesome.
This is going to be very cool. We've got a makerspace and innovation group that's coming, and they use animatronics and robotics to teach.
Oh, that's right.
So that's going to be super cool. We have someone coming to talk about preparing students, specifically first generation, for college. So she does that. She works in a college, and so she's going to be so great. Oh, Letitia, she's great. You're going to love her. I've got a group. So at UGA, I did a couple classes and just kind of on the side, in addition to my grad school program. And these guys were talking about leading change. And it was a lot of business people in the room. And I was like, why aren't more educators taking this class? So they've agreed to come and talk to us.
Awesome.
Exciting. As I mentioned, Dan Z's coming back, our Star Wars and ELA teacher.
That's awesome.
We have a special, I'm not going to say too much about him, but a special teacher and high school basketball coach that's coming. So we've got lots of things coming.
Nice treat.
So we usually do a takeaway. So I thought to end this one, because we're getting close to about an hour, real quick, your wish for our listeners over winter break.
Got really quiet.
Yes.
I think I'm going to say rest, whatever that means for you, sleep, just some kind of decompression, time with family, nothing too strenuous. Just my wish for you is rest.
It's rest. That is a goodie. And I think it falls in line with my quote that I hope that it just gets imprinted on the hearts of our listeners. You have an ethical responsibility to take care of yourself. An ethical responsibility, a moral responsibility to take care of yourself.
There you go.
And for some reason, that word ethical just really took it to another level.
That's right.
So that's what I want.
For teachers or educators in general, that's a really good. Yeah. Pete?
While you're resting and recharging, do something that reconnects you with your why. What got you into this place what got you here in the first place? Be good to yourself. Instead of looking at the news and stressing on the new variant that sounds like a transformer and stressing out of that, think of how far we've come, how much you've grown, how much you've overcome, how much you've achieved in this time. So important. And that might help charge the batteries for what's ahead of us.
That's a good one. How about you, Fred?
I say smile. Smile and laugh. Laugh, get the blood pumping, laugh hard, laugh long, and do it with friends, do it with family. And if you can't, do it with a good TV show, funny movie, but take some time and just laugh hard.
Yes.
And if you have to laugh at yourself, even better. Laugh, just laugh.
Good one. Those are good ones. I like that. All right. So Pete.
Yeah.
Where can our friends find us?
I would love to get some reviews. Wouldn't that be great? If you're listening today, would you please subscribe to our show and leave us a review? Please, please, please tell us how much you laugh at Fred. Go ahead, write it up, share with us. And then also our website, teacherpeprally.com, right, Fred? Sorry.
Yes.
He's been doing wonderful videos of our podcasts on YouTube. Subscribe to that. There's so many ways to be in touch with us. And then as Aaron said earlier, our hotline, 678-439-TPR1. On our last episode, we had our first hotline call from Miss Crystal, our happiness guru. And then Aaron, what do we have coming up next week?
Yep. Next week, we're going to do our second annual Secret Santa gift exchange. And it's just going to be via YouTube. It'll be a video. So be looking for that soon. Just a little special holiday or New Year's treat watching us guess who gave us what. Who gave us what? Well, I have loved this time. Fred, after the holidays, do you think you could take these down for us? The lights, they look great, but
I think we leave them up all year long. Let's
Okay.
just leave them up all year long.
okay.
No,
We can do that.
we could take them down. You know what? I was just thinking maybe we should do that as a YouTube live.
Oh, I'd be up for that. Let's
try
do
something
it.
up.
All right. So you better
We'll talk about it.
subscribe if you want to see it live. Don't miss it. Let's do it. Let's try it. Why not?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I hope everyone has a happy new year.
Happy New Year. Mew, mew, mew.